It is May 21st, 2025. You know, I wish somebody, for goodness sakes, would arrest that idiot in my old apartment. Tired of him walking outside and saying crap. Tired of it. He's so proud he's part of the drug cartel and the cult that hurts people. Like on Sunday, some guy was out in lines. We already told these people we don't care what name they put on it. What these people did is so illegal it's not even funny. Duh. Back on May 25th, 21, 6 p.m. I'm in Wendy's in Louisville, and they're talking about the church people breaking in before drugging me and telling me to say word on molester stuff. That's not funny. I got 2 witnesses in my phone. Okay. The heavyset Michelle and Lauren that worked for the Florida drug cartel. They would drive a blue car, came down on Fairlawn Street, were yelling at the cartel. Okay? They're at the end of Fairlawn Street. Are you crazy? You can't enter a drug confession. Well, we just found out they drugged her and told her what to say before. That was 21. Then a whole list from 8/9/21, December 9/21, January 19th, 22, February 2nd, 22, and then all the other days in between. Okay? Laughing at me like they did in 18, where the first month of the case, for every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. Some little white man walked up to me at Woodforest. I said it. And you try to leave Dave, I'll list you a child molester. See, you know that bruise on your leg? I had a lemon-sized bruise. Throwing up again. Okay? You broke in my house and stabbed me with a date rape drug. And said, you know what, I used sodium pentothal on you. You know what you said? You were wearing this one nightgown, you bent over improperly, and you had a life of pain because of it, because they accidentally seen your butt. And then threatens me again. I get away from that freak, get home to a legally parked house. Dave debunks it. I was dressed modestly and only seeing the back of my knees. He made the whole thing up, just like everything else. They're fake sodium pentothal reports. Spy flick movie stuff. Do you know how insane it is? Where that apostolic girl on Saturday, okay? I'm at Soul's Palace in Millersburg. She stalked me all the way down to Millersburg. Running around with the scam of the dirty doctor. Okay? She's like, thank goodness we had a doctor. Taper on aware before. We had a doctor. Half her state, da 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 da. Because we had that doctor do it too. We have an agreement with law enforcement. We can do whatever we want to her. And then we tell them what we did and just say we made fun of her for doing it. You know, I have no such agreement. Freak. Now think of the scenario. It's not my doctor, like Michelle confessed to an agent and then in front of the police. Okay? It's not my doctor. That a cult hired a doctor. Where Michelle said that told the agent, the reason I don't know who that doctor is, he's not one of mine. He works for them. And they had lied he was one of my doctors. Think of a crazed psychopathic doctor. And a cult hires. Have people kick in the door and stalk you. Break in and stab you with a date rape drug. Until you say something stupid and have you beaten raped. By the cartel. And is in it with the drug cartel. And a cult hired him to frame you and run a drug scam on you. Do you know that's like a 20-year sentence? At least. In 18, they were running around where you had bruises before, throwing up, and in fact, it wasn't the dirty well water. It was us. We were drugged, beaten, raped, and we drugged you and told you to say this. We have drugged you and told you to say that. Huh? We photoshopped all our lives. We erased some guy named Chris out of the room. By January 19, it was a feminine wipey above the toilet. By 21, was a shower scene in the other room. Admitted a frame of me in 22. So, think about this. How would they present this to a prosecutor? A judge? My God. How would you present this? We have tapes of a doctor taping our underwear. It's illegal for them to. That doctor's in jail. It's right to privacy. The violations. We have fake sodium pentothal reports. We had the doctor drug her up. My God, you drugged her. We had her beat and raped too. It'd be like you want to write out your whole complete confession of what you did to her. You looking for a plea deal or something? Where the FBI called these people dumb, and you wouldn't believe how dumb they are. April 19th, 25, Hartville Flea Market. And if they didn't want you to know that they think you're dumb, they wouldn't have showed up and said something. These people are so dumb. You would not believe how dumb they are. She calls the FBI hotline. They immediately walk into an FBI office, confess they're illegally monitoring her on their own. And trust me, nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam of taping you unaware before confessing a crime and sat on it till they wanted a divorce. Because they're freaks, they came up with that. And it sounded mechanical. We knew it was all them and they altered it. And nobody fell for the tape of Weird with Yourself. It was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower. We could tell they photoshopped everything. If they were going to be that dumb and try this with us, we told Agent John to go tell on her to that church. And to act as dumb as these people. Agent John, it was supposed to be an act. You weren't supposed to drink the grape juice and cross over. Monday, I went to go through McDonald's, a drive-through 62. There was a guy inside talking super low. Michelle came in and told us how nice she really is. Told us that they're threatening her for telling on him for that doctor not being one of hers. And that he worked for them and they had lied. I told that Bill from the Freemason he better not touch her. What did that girl get taped saying? We hired a doctor to tape her underwear. They can't do that. We had a doctor have her say that. They can't do that. Oh, they can't. Now, think about this. How would you present that to the prosecutor's office? It's right on Google. It's illegal for a doctor to tape you underwear. You lose a license, you go to jail. It's illegal for a doctor to touch you, especially when you're not signed consent for them to treat you. And break in and stab somebody with a date rape truck. and tell them to say something stupid. And they're not even your patient. How would you like to explain that one? They're actually that dumb. Didn't think this one out, did you? November 18th, 22. The man that they called Eric, they said it was him, came in Walmart 62, screamed out. All the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to do it, my idea to say it. For all these people to turn around, they fell for it. Well, if it's only you, I could take care of it. I don't step out and I still fell for it. Christmas Eve of 22, I went to Danny and Jen. I said, do you know anything about that jackass? She's like, no, but if he confessed, he's probably long gone. I said, do you know where they kicked on my door on the 6th day when we were out and we were at the storage unit? Yeah, I remember that. Dave said it was a realtor passing out keys. Don't report it, yes. Did you know about body camera stalking me? No. Did you know about a shower scene in the other room of me washing myself? And they put that in the other room to make me look weird? No. I said, did you remember the orange, lemon, grapefruit size bruises all over me? Almost passed out in front of the neighbor by the second week. Kept happening. I was sick and throwing up. Yeah, I remember that. Did you know they were drugging me and telling me to say weird on molester stuff? I've heard. And beating on me? No, we didn't know. Kids came out of the room. Grandma, is that what's going on? We didn't know, and they hugged me. Jen's like, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't think about it. So I was going back over there a few more times. I wanted to let them know, do you realize that if they say they have a shower scene in the other room, that predator has everyone using the bathroom? And Jen's like, well, I hope I was gassy. I said, you don't realize they have everyone. And I looked over at the kids. She just looked at me. Everyone using the bathroom. They have kiddie porn. Where the cartel break, they sold my grandkids on porn sites. Colt had him do that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I went over and I was talking to Danny and Jen, and Gabe's my grandson, his oldest one. His girlfriend at the time, Shay. I said, do you realize how scary it is? I thought somebody was watching me live my life and watching all of us a predator. She's like, that is so scary, it's unbelievable. And I said, I know. And I said, I always had like a 2-liter Diet Coke, taking a drink in the room, go to Sam Black and wake up with all those bruises. Not know what happened to me and find out predators were playing with me like that. She's like, that is scary. And I said, that I woke up with an injection mark and I had bruises everywhere. Jen's like, I seen them. And I said, I was almost passing out, and to find out some idiot was playing with me. And she's like, that is scary. And I said, I know it is. Well, Jen's mom had died. And they had a memorial service, April 16th, 23. After the service, I go out in my car. And Danny and Jen and the kids are out in the parking lot. Well, Gabe's an adult. And, he's what, 21, 22 now? So he was about 19, 20. Him and his girlfriend walk up to Danny and Jen. He said, hey, I finally called Dad. I asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. And it was Pete and his men in her home before. Pete has her framed. Pete has her tape saying the dirty statement. Not a doctor, not an attorney. Some guy named Pete he hired on his own. It was Pete and his men in her home before. It was Pete. And Pete has her tape saying, da 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 da. Not a doctor, not an attorney, some guy named Pete. A drug dealer. Like Officer Mark told a lady in August of 23, it is documented, verified she was framed before. And it was a drug cartel in her home before we seen him. Where Michelle was with the Florida human traffickers. And they were using the Florida human trafficking doctor. And that he was even running experiments on me besides the sodium pentothal reports or date rape amnesia drugs. And he was using experimental drugs on me, and that's why I was losing so much weight. And by January to March of 19 in the mall, those idiots are out there that said that doctor's outside the food court. He said he'd like to actually meet the person he's been running experiments on. He'd like to meet you. He's waiting outside. Hell no. Hell no. They even met it. He never met me. But hell no. I found somebody to talk to and got out through Macy's. And walking out that food court door. End up dead that way. Michelle confessed. No, they already confessed in 18. And where Danny announced that Dave had told him, April 16th, 23, about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. He's announcing in the parking lot. I never let him know, I know. Just left it alone. Huh? Cartel was complaining that idiot told on us. He actually told who did it. We were hoping with us saying that all these different people, they'd never figure out who actually did it. And he told on Pete. Yeah. I don't know who Pete is. March 27th, 25, I stayed up and I went through everything from getting sick to the medication errors, medical malpractice and fraud I had afterwards and almost died, to Strange taking Danny, pushing him to suicide. And he thought I was following Tim and Katie. To them nailing my mom's tires and she left. Okay, and the social workers calling Dave and asking his participation in that minister pushing Danny to suicide. You know, when I was getting Danny counseling in 04 at the Stark County Child and Adolescent Center, the psychiatrist's office, there was 2 detectives in there. They were talking. She doesn't want to press charges against that minister for taking her kid. That church better never try anything again. She just wants her son to get well, but they better not try anything again. See, by federal law, somebody gets hurt or abused, you have to report it. This is the retaliation for them thinking I was following Tim and Katie. And you know those detectives had to speak to him. Or a social worker. Somebody had to. Okay? So this is what the big frame is about. Retaliation. Like they said, they planned it for 15 years before they did it. But Georgine Bavuso called Dave, the Stark County social worker for the Child and Adolescent Center, wanted his participation in that minister taking Danny, pushing him to suicide. It's documented in Stark County in 03 and 04. He was under treatment for post-traumatic syndrome because that minister took him. He told them he had took him that day, wouldn't let him leave, starved him all day, screamed at him on the pulpit till he passed out, screamed at him until he did what he was told. And that's why he tried to kill himself and didn't remember half the day. You know, him keep passing out. The next day, they probably drugged him. Okay. Didn't even think about that till this. It's a bad occult. And then I went through money disappearing, the tense of my life, to everything else, to calling the FBI, and then what happened afterwards. Outside my client's house on March 27th, 25, there was a man. Said, I broke up with Michelle today, and yes, I am good with it. She confessed to me she was part of trying to have her killed when they bashed in her head. And the reason she doesn't know who that doctor is, he's not one of hers. He works for them, and they have lied that it was one of her doctors. That's why she don't know who he is. And Dave was telling people he was forced in to marry her. I asked around, and nobody forced him. I got it out of Dave. That it was a girlfriend from before her that made him marry her so he could get that job at her dad's factory. She'd have free insurance to use. He could give her extra money. The woman using my insurance was Dave's girlfriend from before me. Oh, marriage was a scam. Let's see. He said I even went to that family and I asked him why did they say that it offended them that that minister calling her a faker 6 months later. They said it didn't offend them. Didn't even concern them. But they only said it so other people would help out. They lied. I tell you, it's a case of the dumb people that lied. Okay? March 31st, he's out there telling more people. Okay? April 3rd, 25, in Sugar Creek outside a Dutch Valley restaurant, heavyset white woman walks out ahead of me. Guy walks out behind us, me and my new husband. Okay? And they're talking about the cartel and that doctor not being one of mine, and that they have lied and they have been told on. Okay? April 17th, 25, Michelle's at Sheetz gas station in Hartville. I pull in for Carl to use the bathroom. She walks out, and she walks up to an SUV, and the great big government SUVs stop. And she goes to talk. I talked to the police up there. They said, how dumb was I confessing to that guy that she was part of trying to have me killed when they crushed in my head? And that the reason she doesn't know who that doctor is, he's not one of hers. He worked for us. And that we had lied he was one of hers. And they said he's an agent and she's an informant. And we all could end up in jail for this, and I really liked him. Well, April 19th, 25, the FBI showed up. Hartville Flea Market. These people are dumb, and you would not believe how dumb they are. Trying this with us. She calls the FBI hotline. They immediately walk into an FBI office and confess they were legally monitoring her on their own. And trust me, nobody fell for the dirty doctor scam, taping you unaware before confessing your crime. Sat on it till they wanted a divorce. You sound like retards. Like an 8-year-old came up with that scam. And then it sounded mechanical. We knew it was all them. They altered everything. And nobody fell for the weird with yourself. We knew it was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower. And they had photoshopped everything. If they were going to be that dumb and come in and confess to us what they were doing to her, we had told Agent John to go up to that church and tell on her or call the hotline before he talked to her. And to act as dumb as these people. So, FBI, are you done playing with the dumb people? Are you? You know, I understand you wanted the drug cartel, which, if you look, you've got a main human trafficker, Judge Peters, out of Florida, and 100 human traffickers. Okay? The Marshals used the case, got thousands, saved hundreds. I was almost killed. You sacrificed your informant to get all these other bad guys. I'd like my money. We all know Agent John already told on me. We know we don't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He was only bullying me to bullshit the dumb people. I am tired of the dumb people. I need the money. And I earned it 100 times more. You know I got your turkis on me. You're welcome for that one. I like my money. And we know the dumb people don't have anything admissible. And they're pulling nothing but, like the investigator said, fucking shit. You can arrest them. You know, I went out to eat with my grandson, Daniel, and my husband, Carl. And we were talking about history. And I said, well, history's easy. It's times, dates, places, people. He said, well, I have to learn my rights. I started laughing. We started going over through different ones. And he said, you know, I had trouble with someone, but I'm okay. And I said, do you want to talk about it? He said, no, I talked about it with my friends. And I said, well, I had people run scams on me and bully me. And I said, and when you know your rights, and it's very important you learn them, because then people can't scam you. I said, the Fourth Amendment. I said, well, we start with the First Amendment. I said, it's a freedom of speech and the freedom of religious belief. And we went to the second, the third. And I said, the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy. No one can be in your home. It's illegal. But protected like cases with statements in a court order, and it can only be police and agencies. He started labeling. I said, well, the Fifth Amendment, you have a right to remain quiet. You also have a right to an attorney. He's like, and you have a right to a fair and speedy court trial. And I said, I know. Then you also have a right to, no one can take your money or assets, but due process of the law. And then there's also a right that a judge can't just sign stuff over. You has to be through a jury trial. And we're going on. I said, it's very important you learn your rights. Because scam artists are out there. I said, if people run scams on me, and he started giggling. Reality. It's a bit where they keep telling everybody it's a drug scam from the drug cartel. Drug scam from the drug dealers that are human trafficking people. It's a scam from the cartel. Because think of their scenario. Can you hire a dirty doctor that's not some poor person's doctor, but you hired them to break in and stop somebody? Can you have them break in and stab some poor woman with a date rape drug or illicit drink and have that poor thing beat and raped and drugged up and told to say stuff? Psychopath stuff? Pretty much. Think about it. They didn't, like they said, these people have not realized what they actually did. Now, Agent John I like my money. You weren't supposed to cross over and become dumb, honey. It's supposed to be an act. Officer John and Mark, I need you to go to them. I do need my money. I'm taking Daniel to a dentist on Thursday. He's got quite a few cavities. He's the one that handled everything by sitting in his room. Him and Tyler, remember when you first started watching me? They were happy, loud 10-year-olds in your face. Hey, 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 hey. Normal. Excited about life. In the last 6 years, where Dave and I were the extra second set of parents, I wasn't there that much. His other set of grandparents, Jen's mom and dad, both died. Dave fled the country. I'm all they have left. Him and Tyler handled it by sitting in the room. He stopped taking care of himself. I'll probably end up paying an oral surgeon to knock him out because he's a big scaredy cat. I'm going to try a doctor with like laughing gas first. Dentist to fix his teeth. I want him to feel good about himself. And when they realize everything that church is doing is nothing but a scam, and they're too stupid to shut their mouth like the guy in my old apartment. When the hell is someone going to arrest that idiot? Saying that he's got my medical records? He could never have them. He'd go to jail if he actually had them. And the person that gave it to him. The right to privacy. Your medical records are your own. You can't have them. See, where I warned everybody on March 13, 21, where I got bashed in the head. I had migraines for 2 years. Half my head felt like it was going to explode for 2 years. I went into Altman Hospital. The lady that said she was Michelle's mother was in there. And she was with the Florida human traffickers. They had fake FBI badges. They flashed them and got them back. They were even lying to Dr. Allen at Tina's, where they'd cover up the attempted murder. They tried to say I was chipped. Was not chipped. I found out through other medical professions. They were telling people that they raped and released, that they had chipped them, that law enforcement couldn't hide them. If they told anybody, they better stay quiet. It was a scam to keep people quiet from being raped. But they're in there lying to him. I go to use the bathroom, and that weird Eric that laughed at everybody was stalking me, calling the nurse, and she was breaking HIPAA violations and talking bad about me to him. Okay? I reported him, and the security was calling me bad names. And some drug dealer scamming you. Talk about unprofessional. I ended up leaving. I went to Mercy Medical. A lady came in and said no man was ever going to touch her. Okay? Nurse come in laughing with the guy. The only thing they had on her was adjusting herself. The guy said that sick said, no, it's funny. She simply wiped off water with clothes on. He said that sick said, no, she just simply brushed it off. It's actually funny. They didn't have anything else. So they had nothing. Or they said they photoshopped everything in and out. They would have had to. A lot of people had the no wrongdoing and no wrong saying, and they had to enter the other stuff back in. Except that. Alright. Well, July 8th, 24, 9:10 in the morning, Altman Hospital Billing Department called me. Said my credit card didn't work. Well, I just used it at McDonald's. I said, let me pull over. I could hear a guy in the background running his mouth, confessing all kinds of stuff. What's he doing in the billing department? No FBI agent is going to care if I pay my $25 payment to Altman Hospital. It was fishy. See, I worked in banks and I worked in loan companies. We did a training on predators thinking that you're sheep. That you are do what you're told. And that's how they can steal everything from you. Because they think you're sheep. I'll tell you what. Some agent would have walked into one of the banks I worked at. I would have got the manager. The manager would have called the main office. And they better have a court order that they can call the courthouse and verify it. Because you can't talk to anybody. You know why they were in billing department? They were fishing for people's information. Do you know why they wanted it in the back of the hospital? They were fishing for people's information. You know, I had made the comment, you better hope they didn't touch your computer, because they'll steal everybody's IDs. Because in a hospital record, you have your name, your social, your birthday, and your address. Phone number. Guess what you got? Somebody's ID. The manager at Carl's Bank said thousands and thousands of people in this area have been victimized by the cartel. They have stolen thousands of people's IDs and they don't know how they got it. Oh, I know how they got it. Let them in the back of the hospital. They touch your computer, it takes minutes, probably less than a minute to download all that. Yep. You know, I had somebody up at Ron Health or Nissan. They were talking, that's Karen's World. We all listen to find out what the cartel's doing. They said no one's allowed to help her. Well, stop being a sheep. Who told you that? Who told you that? And why don't you have some manhood? Has to have a backbone. Be a little proud that you're a U.S. citizen and you're free. You don't live in a communist country. What's wrong with you? As long as you're not breaking the law, you can do whatever what you damn well please. No one can tell you what you can do and what you can't do as long as you're not breaking the law. Get some manhood and some backbone. Somebody's in need, somebody needs help. It takes integrity to do the right thing when nobody else does. So what are you proving? You don't have integrity. Exactly. And a backbone. That some cartel, some drug dealers can tell you no one can help her, and you listen to a drug dealer and a cartel, shame on you. You need to get on your hands and knees and ask God to forgive you for being so stupid to listen to a drug dealer hurting somebody. Anybody can help anybody in the United States, and they can't tell them they can't. You're that stupid? It's just like 14th Amendment. It's illegal for law enforcement to withhold protection. They go to jail for it. So if somebody tells you, oh, that poor person over there is starving, but you're not allowed to give them no money, and you probably wouldn't do it because you're stupid. And you let some idiot control you because you got a child's mind and a child's mentality instead of an adult. Start acting like an adult and check yourself. And realize, as long as you're not breaking the law, no one can tell you what to do. And no one can tell you how, can't say anything either. Except for a judge and a jury trial. This is the United States of America, where I told my ex-husband we don't live in a communist country. We don't. And for these people to have slave mentality, shame on you. Shame on you for letting drug dealers control you. Like they own you. Shame on you. Now that I'm done giving them a speech, Officer John and Mark, I do need that money. If I do have to pay for an oral surgeon to fix Daniel's teeth, it's going to cost a lot more. My dog bite money. And this foolishness of the cartel. And that occult. When the hell are you going to arrest them? For the confession of their crimes. See, they didn't even take Agent John's advice. Admit to no wrongdoing and I'll take care of everything in the end. It's the end. It's been the end. 1,000,000 times over the end. I'd like my money. We all know he can't withhold it. We all know he can't make up his own restrictions. We all know he already told on me. We all know he was all bullying me. And we all know he don't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet. And he's already told me he's a tattletale. If you get my money, I'd appreciate it. Okay? I'm tired of playing with the fools and dealing with the foolish terrorist. Domestic terrorism is a group of people to further their own beliefs with political or religious backing with threats or harm to human life. Like the investigator said, we all know it's a domestic terrorism group connected to a drug cartel. That is a dangerous combination. I'm going to upload this.